Hello ladies and gents, Hagbard Celine here on another beautiful afternoon, and I'm gonna go without the face camera today for the same reason we didn't have a video last week. I had some construction done, and frankly, I haven't cleaned up. So next week perhaps, or well, whenever I feel like it, but for now it's just gonna be a little story video. Now, this is a real story, but I'm going to try not to give away too much or reveal any names, despite the fact that it would be kind of funny to be able to make some of the jokes that were related to a couple of these guys' names, but unlike most smart drug people, their nicknames were based on their real legal names, so I'm gonna pass on that. But this is actually an anti-drug story. This is kind of a warning about one of the dumbest and worst drug users I ever met did. There was a gentleman I knew who was a distributor on a low level of cocaine. He would sell people 8 balls and grams and make up enough that he himself could enjoy his weekends for free, so nothing serious. And he had with him a little partner. And the little partner he used to hang out with was, interestingly enough, not hanging out for free cocaine, but simply easy, available, and slightly cheaper cocaine. Of course, the girl that was clinging on to both of them was there for the cocaine, and, well, the dick was the price she paid. This is just the reality of the drug scene, so if you don't want to be involved, stay away. Now, I say this and I tell this story simply to place this in time. I've known these two gentlemen, and I've seen their habits for approximately a year by now, by the time this story takes place. And their habit is, every weekend, at least, these two would get together, along with the girl, buy a 1/4 of an ounce of cocaine. He would sell 1/8 of it immediately off to his partner, which is half of the sale. Which is always interesting to me because little did his partner know without him, the rest of the profit likely wouldn't be possible. But again, these are drug people, they're not thinking clearly. They just want to have fun. So, having placed this in time, another weekend rolls around, and it turns out that the kind coke dealer's car is broken. So I offer a ride to the bank for these guys to go ahead and, you know, his partner needs to go into the bank and pull money so that they can go out and buy their cocaine, and I'll gladly give them a ride. This was a long time ago. At this point, I probably couldn't drive straight knowing there was a fucking 1/4 ounce of cocaine potentially going to be in my car at some point, but beyond that. So we pull up to the bank. It's another day as usual. No big deal. Shouldn't be anyway. And we're sitting there bullshitting, as you do when you wait for drugs or drug-related things with people you don't really know or like, but are forced to interact with due to the cultural necessity of knowing these people to get and do your drugs. So we're doing the normal bullshitting, and we're sitting there listening to the radio, and he comes back out, the second guy, not the main coke distributor, the clinger-on, of the bank, white as a sheet. And he was pale to begin with, but his lips had no color, the bags under his eyes lost their color. He was in shock. And he sits down silently and just goes, "Drive away." In just that tone, just drive away, just drive away, just put the car in gear and go, guys. And it turns out that what had been occurring for the past year is he was using his ID and checks that he was stealing from his father to slowly empty a bank account out. He didn't realize that this is what he was doing. Somehow he thought that their savings account had a regular deposit in it and he was somehow going to keep it breaking even, despite withdrawing at least $150 to $300 every weekend for a year. Needless to say, this did not occur, so when he walked in this final time, it was rejected. Now, to clarify, this was all a scam, because the reason he had to steal his father's checks was he was a junior, and his ID did not make that fact clear, so he could go into the bank with his father's checks, sign them, and walk out with the money, and no one was the wiser. And he kept the transactions low, so of course there was no reason to alert anyone that transactions were being made. It was slick until it wasn't, and on this day, the final day as we called it from that point on, because no one ever saw him again, we went out, we partied, and we found out along the course of this little party that bank account had an excess of $10,000 in it, and that his parents were going to find out now. The bank actually was calling his father as we'd got in the car and were driving away, and that was essentially his final hurrah. His parents were forced, due to the nature of the law, to press charges against him to recoup the losses on their savings account, only by putting on the record that their son was a financial thief. He had committed financial fraud and was going to be a convicted felon, probably for the rest of his life, to recuperate the $14,000 that were in the bank account. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a good little story on one of the worst case scenarios I've ever seen for a kid that had everything. Upper middle class, but the drugs got a hold of him, and his parents were the upper middle class responsible type that, sorry son, but you fucked up and now you gotta deal with the consequences. I always wonder how those guys are doing now. I hear one of them's a music producer. Semi-successful in the area. Anyway, that's my anti-drug story, ladies and gents. I have many, many more that are much, much worse, but they're about me, so I'd prefer to share dirt like this about other people. And that's it for me, ladies and gents. I hope you enjoyed this little story. I promise I'll have some more well-researched, edited, and longer content out here shortly, as soon as I put my life back in order for the third time in a year. As usual, stay safe, good luck, and goodbye.